Travels, aviation, tourism, lifestyle, and destinations, while learning the people, culture, and everything in between, one episode at a time. Introducing your host, Tayar Arishadare. Welcome to the Traviator. Learn the world.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. This is still the Traviator again, and welcome and thanks for joining us. My name is Tayo Orishadare. On today's edition of the Traviator, we brought you just another topic of discussion that I think is going to be beneficial, especially to our young up and coming folks, and to some extent because the person we have today is so experienced. Even those people that are practicing in that space, they will also have something to benefit. Are you a frequent traveler? Are you someone who works around the aviation industry, or just another ardent lover of aviation? This episode is particularly channeled to educating people in this space, whether as a customer or as a practitioner, especially those people that believe in cabin safety or the safety aspect of aviation. There are those beautiful ladies you see on board, mostly ladies. I'm sorry for the gentlemen that are also in this space. They're not any lesser than the ladies, but people just see them from different perspectives. Some actually just think that they're as good as 70 and coffee, as it is in the like a cliche in that part of the industry. And some just think that, oh, they're just beautiful faces. And to those people that are very initiated, they will know that they are some of the most important safety components of every flight. On today's edition of the Traviator, we'll be talking about living the sky life, earning your wings. What is this about? You will know in a moment. And my guest on today's show is an aviation veteran, someone who is very well known, especially in the Nigerian aviation space. I always tell her that you are not in the industry if this person has not spoken about you. He's a veteran, he's an aviation consultant, an aviation careers development advocate. He's an aviation blogger and a mentor to very many previously aspiring and now practicing aviation professionals, especially in the cabin services aspect of aviation. People know them commonly as flight attendants. Some people know them as just cabin crews, but they are professionals in their regard. But beyond this, she is the proprietor or proprietress, the founder, the managing director, the brain behind the Mama J Aviation blog, Mama J Aviation TV, Mama J Aviation Mentorship Academy, the convener of the annual cabin crew fair. And as if that's enough, she is the brain behind the Explore Aviation Careers Conference. She's put in nearly 3 decades of knowledge and experience into the industry, having started her aviation career from the then Okada Airlines, and she's worked with a lot of reputable companies, amongst which Okada Airlines, Associated Airlines. She works with Virgin Nigeria and Discovery Airways. She's a specialist in crew management, performance management, and customer relationship management, amongst other mentoring activities that she's involved in. But just different than what people think. I mean, a lot of people think that cabin crew are just beautiful faces. She has a degree in mass communication from the Delta State University, amongst all other several academic pursuits. She had a diploma in social works from the University of Benin, a diploma and certificate in leadership and coaching. She's a customer service professional and trainer. She trains in effective coaching and supervisory skills. And as you know, in aviation, it's not only regulated, it's extremely regulated. So we are compelled to having trainings, whether domestic or international, to be on top of our game. And she's not left out. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Joy Ogbebo. Everybody knows her as Mama J.
Thank you so much, Ty, for having me.
That's a mouthful. But I am actually in one starstruck moment. Having you in the studio with me, breathing live and direct, talking to me. it can only be a privilege. Thank you very much for actually accepting to be a part of this show.
It's a delight to be here.
You know, this is one thing I know about you. You're too humble to a fault. I'm the one, like, it's when you are in that, I mean, you just think that, you are at the peak of your career when you start interviewing the interviewer. She's the one who actually will bring out the best of everybody. And that's why I always tell you now, when you come in once, I answer 7 times. So I feel really honored to have you here today.
Thank you, Taya, so much. This is an honor for me.
And beyond this also is that even I'm also saying thank you to her on behalf of those listeners at home who will be benefiting from this session. Because she's one of those altruistic people that, apart from having garnered her knowledge, having earned her own wings, having gone through all those professional trainings, she just takes delight in giving back to the society in the forms of mentorship, in the forms of training, just creating opportunities for the younger ones. What would you say actually led you into doing this?
Interestingly, after spending such a long time in the industry, I always knew that I was going to give back to the society. I always knew that at some point I was going to have to send the elevator down and also raise up the next skilled generation of aviation professionals. However, I didn't really start until I started blogging.
Right.
I think the blogging thing was more or less like an eye-opener to the fact that there were so many young ones out there who needed mentoring, who had a lot of questions, but there were really no
answers.
Institutions where they could go and seek answers to these questions. And so when I started blogging in 2015, why I actually came into the blogging business in the first place was my passion in the industry. Sometimes when I remember that I've spent this long in the industry, sometimes I pinch myself and I'm like, wow, what has taken me this far? It could have been passion. Nothing else but passion.
Right.
Passion is something that will drive you, irrespective of the challenges, irrespective of the fact that it's not you're not really getting financial
commensurate financial.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing that will keep pushing you is passion. And so at some point I decided that this is an industry I've been for a very long time, and why can't I tell the story from within? Why can't I change the narrative? Because way back then, things have really changed. Honestly, now we have objective reporting about the aviation industry. But there was a time whereby the only time you got to hear about the industry was when there was something negative.
News. Yeah,
there's a plane crash. There's so much hype out there. But nobody got to say the positives about the industry. So I told myself that why can't I highlight the positive about the industry? Why not project images that shows that the industry is an amazing, exciting industry? And so I started curating contents that, were on that path to highlighting positives about the industry. And so then I used to post pictures of pilots, different career opportunities in the industry.
Right.
So I think it triggered interest in the young ones to really know that, females could be pilots.
Right.
Pilots could actually marry pilots and they're able to manage their lives well and have a balance.
Well, Mama J, now, sorry to question, like it's been so long. Beyond your biological Jordan, which is your son, how many children do you have in this industry now?
I have so many.
And grandchildren.
Sometimes I'm telling my sister, I'm like, you know what? I have so many children now. Everybody's like, my mama,
Mama J.
I have so many kids now. And it's exciting for me because sometimes, life, nature sometimes bestowed some things on you naturally that you really cannot feel the impact and the effects until after
a while
in your life. So growing up, I grew up in a family of 12.
Right.
My dad had 10 kids. So I came from a large family, and I happened to be the first daughter. So from time I was used to having my siblings, taking care of people. Yeah. So so when I came to the industry, and then the name Mama J, how did the Mama J stick?
It won't come. Yeah.
Exactly. How did it start? When I was pregnant with my son, I used to be skinny actually. But when I was pregnant with my son, at some point the pregnancy was so big that one day I was coming to the office and I was just rolling. In fact, they gave me different names. Some of the pilots used to call me Mama J, you are now Airbus. So one day I was rolling down to the office.
Really
one
rolling.
of the crew now said, you are no more Sister Joy, you are now Mama
J.
That was how the Mama J just talk. And when I knew that Mama J became a brand was even when I left that airline to Virgin Nigeria. People would call me from outside and they're like, Mama J, and I'm like, how did you know they call me that? But two things really happened that made me realize that name has become a brand. One day, my former boss came to MMA 2. He said he wanted to just check on me. My former boss in my former airline, that is Associated Airline. So he said, I was in the office on that day. He knocked on the door, and by the time I opened, he said, Mama J. So that's what they call you here. So I was shocked. I was like, Captain, he said, I've been in this terminal for 30 minutes. I've been asking all your staffs that I'm looking for Joy. But nobody knew you. Until eventually I got to ticketing desk. I think it was one of our staff, them, GBK.
Yes.
I said, and I asked her, she now said, Joy, I think it's Mama J.
Right.
So she was the only one that directed him to my office, and so he came and we laughed over it. Another occasion, I was traveling to Benin. Normally what I do, I just tell them at the boarding gate that, okay, here's my ticket, but I'm going on board to supervise what the crew are doing.
Right.
I'll come back and pick up my ticket. So I went on board on that day. I was supervising and everything. And so when they started boarding, I was, making my way back to the gate. And then I heard them making an announcement. Passenger Joy Bebo, please rush down to the gate. Passenger Joy Bebo, rush down to the gate. So when I got to the gate, I said, that's my name I'm hearing over the PA. And the boarding staff, personnel, then I said, Mama J, I forgot. I didn't know that you are the one they were announcing. So that was when I realized that Mama J has become
a household name.
Right.
So, there's something that I have known about you. I met you very early in my career as well, but I met you from a distance. And then you were pretty much flying in a box. Then you were a cabin crew on short. That was an aircraft and a half. But before we go into that, I've actually known it's like you have a time machine and you just stopped aging. You just stopped your age. You've been the same way I've known you since maybe almost 20 years now. What is your beauty regimen? What do you do to keep young? How have you stayed so young? Especially because your part of the industry is very, very big on looks.
Somehow, I think this job of flight attendant that I found myself in has had a way of helping to form, define who I am today and in everything that I do. So even in keeping myself fit, I'm still not used to dangling earrings because as a cabin crew, you just need to put on these small pin earrings, studs. So I just got used to it. So till now, that thing is still in me. In everything that I do, that's cabin crew thing. Because a lot of people just think that being a cabin crew is just
beautiful face, tea and coffee,
slaying, and serving tea and coffee.
Right.
But they hardly know that there's a lot of trainings that we go through. There's a lot of training. We keep training. We keep retraining, learning, relearning, unlearning.
Yeah.
So we are always trainings, and there are so many trainings we do. And the job is not just you going on board to serve. It's so many roles rolled into one.
Okay, I'll come to that. So, being a flight attendant, can be likened to one of those high-risk jobs because you seem to live more in the air than on the ground. That's the perception now. For every flight we take, there's somebody wearing the same type of uniform, the same, often than not, almost cloned, the same outlook, the same type of makeup. And to some people, it just seeing cabin crew reduces their pressure or phobia for flight by 50%. Is it easy to becoming a cabin crew? What does it really take to actually toe in this line of profession?
Flying, honestly, I would say, is exciting. Flying is fun. Flying takes you to places you never imagined. Flying is a job that you fly for free and you even get paid for it. Just imagine having breakfast in Lagos, having lunch in Accra, and having dinner in London. What can be more exciting?
What can be better? And all those visas, you didn't have to pay for them.
Yes, you know, there are so many perks that comes with a job. You get to stay in 5-star hotels, you meet VIPs, personalities you ordinarily wouldn't have had the opportunity to, your paths would never have even crossed their paths.
Right.
You just meet them one-on-one. So, and there are so many perks that comes with the job, especially when you work with airlines that have a lot of incentives. I remember one time I traveled to London with my son with just 19,000 naira and some fraction.
19,000.
To London and back.
The both of you.
Both of us under 50K, we went to London and back. So there are a lot of perks that comes with a job. And sometimes there's this flexibility as well. You can fly in the morning, maybe 2 sectors, and the rest of the day you are off.
Right.
You can just be all through the day, you are resting.
Have your time.
And in the evening, you are going to have a sleepover flight outside Lagos.
Right.
It's a job that can afford you the opportunity to be in 5 states in one day. In Nigeria, you can be in Abuja today, you can be in Port Harcourt, in Owerri, in Enugu.
And come back to Lagos. Right.
So it's an interesting job, honestly.
Right. So, yeah.
Even though it's very interesting, there's the flip side
to it. I was just going to say, should I just change my profession already?
It's not all glam.
Right.
Behind that glamour, there's hard work.
Right.
It's hard work.
Right.
Sometimes back-breaking hard work.
Wow.
So if you intend to come into this profession, you need to be aware of this. It's not just about glamour, looking good, slaying, and going about to sip tea and coffee. No, it goes beyond that.
Right.
It's hard work.
Right.
So if you're interested in becoming a cabin crew, you need to have this at the back of your mind. And it's, like I said before, continuously training
and retraining,
learning, relearning. Every year you have to do that, and you have to read
a lot.
It's a job you do that every day. You need to know your manual inside out. There's a manual, we call it our Bible. You need to read it every day, because before you go on board, you are going to have to sit for pre-flight briefings. And at these briefings, you are going to be asked a question. And if you are not able to answer that question,
you can be stepped down
from that flight.
But just why is it said that the cabin crew is the foremost safety tool or equipment or personnel on board the flight from the customer's perspective? Why is it said so?
If you really want to know who a cabin crew is, for a start, a cabin crew is that personnel that has been assigned by an operator to carry out safety duties on board. So that is their primary duties on board, is safety. So
should look beyond the uniforms, right?
They tell you, they think it's comfort.
Yeah, of course.
Tea, coffee. No, it's safety, your safety.
Right.
They have been trained to make sure that you are safe on board, and and they are there to make sure that ensure compliance to all safety regulations on board. And God forbid, if there's an emergency, they have been trained to be able to get you out of that aircraft under 90 seconds.
Wow.
So you can see that there's a lot of responsibility for you as a flight attendant on board any aircraft. So it goes beyond
just that glamour.
Some time ago, I met with somebody, and the person is flying now. And last year, the person called me and said, first flight, he said, Mama, is it like this? I didn't know.
Oh my days.
I didn't know this. It's not easy, man.
At all.
It's not easy. I said, yes. This is what I try to
Welcome to the world.
Welcome to the real world.
Right.
Because out there, you just see the glamour. You think it's just to slay. But it goes beyond that. It's hard work.
Chill the hall with your bag.
Honestly,
into
it's
and all
hard
that.
work.
Okay, so like they say in Jamaica, so when you see one of these flight attendants, put some respect on it, you know. So, well, all of this, we're not going to round up all of these without also considering that person who is looking at you at home now and saying, "Oh, what is woman saying? No matter what happens, I have to roll. Me too. I want to eat breakfast in Lagos and eat chinko in China by tomorrow. And I also want to be able to fly with my own version of Jordan under 50,000 naira to London and back." What will you tell that person? How can this person make his or her dream come to reality?
The first thing I would say that your dreams are valid and they can come true.
Right.
But you need to give wings to your dreams to fly.
To fly.
You don't just have a dream and then go to
and
sleep.
sit on it.
So you need to take steps. And what are these steps? Knowledge is power. Information is liberating.
Wow.
That's what I do most times. The mentorship academy that I run today is to help people, like, take you through the foundational class so that you know what you are getting into. You don't just dabble into it. In my time, I didn't have that opportunity. Nobody told me what to do, how to go into it, what to expect and all that.
Right.
So this is an opportunity. I think you should cash into it.
Right.
Severally, I have done a lot of free classes online. I tell them, sometimes you have up to 100 people registering.
Wow.
And on that day, you just have few of them who come for the class. This is even a free class. So I realize that a lot of people have dreams and they are not ready to give
to follow through.
Dreams to fly. So you need to give wings to your dreams to fly. Then you need to know what it takes for you to become a flight attendant. One, you have to be at least 18 years. Most airlines will prefer that you are 21 years.
All right.
Now you'll be wondering why they have this age requirement. As a cabin crew on board, you're always going to be responsible for adults on board.
Right.
And for you to be responsible,
you can't be a minor and be responsible for adults.
Have some level of maturity yourself. So some airlines will actually prefer that you're 21, but at least you need to be 18.
Right.
Then 2, you need to be medically, mentally, and physically fit. Because the job is so mentally tasking.
Right.
It's a job you prepare. If you are flying tomorrow, you're already from yesterday. You're
already in that
for
zone.
A flight. Yeah. So mentally, you start preparing from home. So you're always going to be mentally alert, observant. So at every point in time, your head is working.
It's always working.
Once you're sitting for takeoff, the aircraft is rolling. You're doing your 30 seconds review. You're thinking, you're rolling for takeoff now. What if there's an emergency? What do I do? What are my drills?
Really?
How do I open this door?
Wow.
When the door is open, what are my commands to the passengers? How do I evacuate? If this exit is blocked, how do I redirect the passengers? So your head is always working. So it's a mental thing. So if you're not mentally alert, most of the things that are operated on board are very sensitive.
Right.
Just the slide. If you are very forgetful, you can't do this job. You're supposed to arm the slide for takeoff and disarm it on landing. So if you're forgetful, you go and arm it when you're supposed to disarm it, or you disarm it when you're supposed to arm it. Once that slide goes out there,
that's
you've
it.
grounded that aircraft.
That is it.
You've messed up operations for that day. So you need to be mentally and physically alert.
Yeah.
So it's not just you saying I am, because you still need to go through
psychometric
test. Yes, which in centers that are certified by the CAA.
Right.
So you also need to be able to speak and write English. Yes.
That one not easy.
That's very, very important as well. And then you need to be educated, you know. So that just rules out that impression out there that
They're just beautiful
profession
faces.
is just for any fine
Pretty
face, just throw them on board.
Right.
You need to be educated. Where in my time, having a secondary school certificate then was okay. That today that's different. Most airlines will require that you are a graduate.
Right.
In fact, I remember as way back as in the 90s, then we had a master's degree holder. Who was a cabin crew.
Right.
So you need to be educated. You need to be at least a graduate.
Right.
If you're not a graduate, maybe on a scale of 10 to 100%, your chances of getting a job if you're not a graduate now, especially in Nigeria, is just 20%.
20%, yeah.
So out of 100, you have 20%. So it's one case out of so many. So I always advise them that it's never too late. You go get a degree. And then I always advise too that you start early. Because one of these downsides of not having mentorship institutions is that a lot of people don't know. Most of them would have gone through school, graduated from university, done their service, worked for a while. They are now close to 40. That's when they are now thinking that, I would have loved to be a flight attendant. And I'm like, it's already getting too late. So it's better to start on time. Most airlines in Nigeria have even reduced their age limits to some 27.
Wow.
Yes. So you find out that
so you're only flying from 18 to 27. Wow.
Although that is one of the challenges we have in our industry in Nigeria, because abroad they are not really particular about your age,
especially in the
they
US.
are on your capabilities.
Right.
I remember 3 years ago there was a man 63. He just got a job 3 years ago as a cabin crew in US.
Yes, I see a lot of them.
If you're capable, you can still do it. But here, it's gradually getting
tighter and tighter.
They are reducing the age requirements, and that is one of the challenges we have in the job. So you need to know all this. And then height requirements as well. In our time, it used to be at least minimum 5'5". That is your height.
Okay.
But now I'm not really fussy about that, because sometimes now airlines are gradually not
the very
because depending on the aircraft, there are some aircraft that they have the headroom is a bit
very low,
so you don't really need people who are too tall. Somebody who is 5 feet can actually operate.
Right.
So I'm not really fussy about the height thing. Then also your weight. You need to watch your weight is.
Now that's where your secret is. That's why you have refused to grow up.
For females, your dress size should be nothing more than 12 for a start.
Really?
Yeah. So if you are coming into the industry and you are size 18, size 16, you're already leaving that weight range.
Wow.
So if you want to, because it will even help you, makes you more appealing to the recruiters. If you go for interview and they see a slim, smart lady
or gentleman,
you are more appealing, or gentleman than somebody
a bit rotund.
Size 18 and all that. Although maybe when you're already in the system, because I know some people will tell me, Mama G, we have seen some problems. Yeah. When you're already in the system and you are beginning to add with, that is understandable. Although
just experience counts.
Yes. But when you're just coming in, at least you should have a certain weight that is acceptable.
Right.
So basically, these are all the requirements you need to know.
And what about in terms of training or getting your license, or what is required?
I also let people know that this is not a job that you just throw people on board.
Right.
CAA has regulated trainings. You can't just go and train in any school.
Yeah.
Because you want to be a flight attendant. There are schools that have been certified by the CAA where you can train. And then if you train and you pass, there are some regulated exams as well that you have to take at the CAA. CAA, I'm talking about the
Civil Aviation Authority.
Yes, Civil Aviation Authority.
Yes.
And you have to pass. You have to at least get 75%
before the license is issued.
So there are 2 exams you need to write at the regulatory authority. That is the aircraft type and the air law. So when you're able to pass that, then you go for medical tests.
Wow.
If you're able to pass through
all
go
of
through these
this
processes and you are successful,
only then
NCAA issue you a license. Without a license, you
cannot
operate as a cabin crew.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you were ever in doubt about the proficiency or otherwise of any person you see on board without wing, without uniform, without lanyard, without identification, and without nomenclature, cabin crew, I think your doubt must have now been sufficiently cleared. These people, young men, young women, regardless of their age, are not only proficient, they are professionals in their regard. And as you can see from the veteran flight attendant that we have in the studios today, she has been able to reel out what it takes, the journey they will actually have to go through and endure and ensure they achieve success in the process to becoming a flight attendant. And like I said, maybe now you will actually learn to now respect them a bit more when they come through that aisle and giving you that top-notch service, because you never know, your life might just depend on them. Thank you again, Mama J, for coming today and sharing from your vast well of experience. I trust you'll be here again when we call you.
It will be my pleasure to be here anytime.
Thank you again. And it's been another time on the Traviator. And like we always say on Traviator, we try to help you learn your truth, see the world through, and bridge the gap between this truth. Until the next time, my name is Tayo Orishadare. Keep learning the world.
Thanks for joining us on The Traviator. Please stay up to date with us by visiting thetraviator.com. You may also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all podcast outlets. Until next time, keep learning the world, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Traviator Podcast.